Hi, my name is Marco Lerias and I'm taking you behind the scenes of how applications actually run in production. So guys, we're still on Kubernetes networking. When you deploy an application inside your Kubernetes environment, you need a way to be able to access that application, right? If you deploy a website into Kubernetes, you need to be able to type an IP address or type a URL, and it takes you to that website and you can see the things running on that website. Kubernetes, for you to do this, offers you an object called the service object. And we've spoken about the service object. But now there are three modes with which the service object performs. So your service object can either work with the ClusterIP type, the NodePort type, or the LoadBalancer type. And each of these have the different ways they offer you access to your application. For the ClusterIP, when you deploy your pod into Kubernetes, that pod is assigned an IP address. However, you can deploy an application with a deployment, and that application can have various pods. So Kubernetes gives you the service object, and all those pods can be assigned to that service object using labels. So when someone goes to the IP address of that service, he's able to access any one of those pods instead of individually putting in the pod IP address. This concept works with the concept of load balancing, right? Now, if that service object is assigned the cluster IP type, that service object is given an IP address, and the IP address, when you go to the IP address, you're able to access your applications. However, that IP address is only accessible within the Kubernetes cluster, so it's a private IP address. This is great for service-to-service communications. If you want to access the application from outside the Kubernetes cluster, you can use either the NodePort type or the load balancer type. With the NodePort type, the service object IP is routed to a node port on your Kubernetes cluster. So the pod is running within a worker node. The service IP address is routed to a port on that worker node. So if you go to an IP address and the port of that node, that port maps the traffic and routes that traffic to your service and then to your pod. Another way to do this is to have a load balancer running outside of the Kubernetes cluster. So that load balancer, be it ALB or F5 or Metal LB, whatever load balancer technology you're using, is then mapped to the service IP. It's given access to your Kubernetes cluster, and then it's mapped to your service IP address. So when you send traffic to that load balancer sends the traffic to the service IP, and then you're able to access your application. So these are the three main ways to do this. The NodePort is not suitable for production since it's very insecure, and the load balancer is not cost efficient because you need many load balancers for each service that you want to have access to, which is not cost efficient at all. There's another way to do this, and we'll talk about that in our next video. See you in the next one.